Hey everyone, and welcome to the Bream Fishing Project. In this episode, we're off to Marlo in Victoria to review the Hobie Fishing Series Australia round two, which was held on February 21 and 22 of 2026. That's a mouthful. Listen, I was able to attend this one. I had a great time. Didn't catch a lot of fish as it turns out, but nonetheless, still love the place. So let's roll the intros and we'll get straight into it. Here we go.
Welcome to the Bream Fishing Project. This is where you need to be every Tuesday to find out all the latest tips and tricks to help you target bream on lures. You'll get to hear from some of Australia's elite bream competition anglers and see how they were able to achieve their results in competitions around the country. Now, here's your host, the 2019 Hobie Kayak Fishing World Champion, Andrew Deeth.
So with this one, look, I had a great time down in Marlo. I got to meet one of my good mates who I've not actually shaken hands with before, in the little fella in Brett Geddes, with the man with the iron grip. Anyway, it was good to catch up with Brett and a very nice surprise. I did some interviews with the ladies down there, or a few of the ladies that attended the competition. So that was very cool. And hopefully as this episode goes to air, those will already be out. What I might do, there's a fair bit to go through with this one. I might run through a couple of the divisions and then we'll get into the angler interviews. This is a good one. I really enjoyed this one. Enjoyed the whole thing. Anyway, Pat Byrne. Okay, so then the Anaconda Big Brimmer, it went to Patrick Byrne with a 1.4 kilo beast, which had him in front on day one with, I think, 3.44. So absolutely cracking bag. The Monster Mover. Now, this was a great story too. Evan Leonard, donut on day one, backs it up with 2.71, takes home the Monster Mover. The division winners, now Riley Whelan, he is on fire at the moment. His bag weighed 3.31 kilos, which was enough to put him in front of the youth. The women's division, Beth Harris, good to see her. Just the one fish with 0.72, but enough to take out the women's. In one of the bigger fields of women, I think there were 6 in that round. And then, of course, the Masters 60 plus was, of course, Lindsay Pryke, smashing it, taking out 4.95 kilos, which also had him inside the top 10 in 7th position. How good is that? Well done, Lindsay. He beat Steve. How good's that? All right. And just before we get into the angler interviews, I'm just going to rattle off the top 10 because I think it was pretty cool. James Scott in 10th place, Joel Crosby 9th, Leon Leong in 8th, Lindsay Pryke first in the Masters at 7th, Tyler Bruce in 6th spot, and then Dale Baxter rounding up the top 5. In 4th place was Simon Batman Morley, Benny Hanscomb in 3rd, Brendan Pieschel in 2nd, and then, of course, Joseph Gardner. So there's the top 10. Let's get into the angler interviews. Okay, so coming in 3rd place, we have an angler dropping his 3 fish on the Saturday for 3.06, backing it up on the Sunday with a 3 fish bag of 2.78, giving him a total weight of 5.84. And 3rd place, I have Ben Hanscomb. Welcome back, mate.
Thanks for having us, Andrew.
Mate, another solid result for you. And, the first couple of comps of the year to have a top 3 has got to be pretty good.
Yeah, pretty stoked with that. Big week of fishing and, just very happy to come away with the result we have there.
Definitely. And you said that you had there was a bit more of a struggle at BEM than it might normally be, with a lot of small fish and a few perch in the mix.
Yeah, it wasn't the typical bite that I've experienced there in the past. Yeah, got a lot of nice perch instead of bream, which is a bit unfortunate. But yeah, that's off to the guys that done well there because I definitely couldn't do it. So
Exactly. But then you come up to Marlo, which is supposed to be a tougher system, and you've done pretty well. You're pushing towards a kilo average.
Yeah, no, pretty happy with that result. Sure.
Very good. All right, mate. What did you do to get in preparation for this one?
So a couple of weeks before the comp, just before the band, went down on a random Saturday for a bit of a look around in the boat. Found plenty of fish in the spots that we normally would fish down there, like pre-fish for a comp. Got some really nice fish, which would have been handy comp week. But yeah, sort of worked out a few zones where to fish or to check out for pre-fish. Yeah, just had a general look around, checked out the water quality, checked out the water temp, all that sort of stuff. And yeah, put a bit of a plan together to check for pre-fish.
Fair enough. And then on the Friday, how was that for you, mate?
Got on the water fairly early. We're staying with a heap of guys. We all got up and got into it. Plucked some really nice fish early in a few typical spots. Wasn't confident they were going to hold up given they were pretty close to the ramp. But yeah, sort of just expanded on that. Went to a few of the zones and fished a few weeks earlier. Found fish. went up into the lake eventually once the tide changed and was running in, and found them where I'd found them a couple of weeks earlier. Just got them on a couple of different techniques, which was good, but stung a couple of fish that would have been nice on day one or day two, but they weren't much bigger than the fish I ended up catching. But it gave me confidence to know that I could go there and hopefully catch some good quality fish that may be a little bit less pressured than the fish closer to the start.
Sure, sure.
So yeah, after that, just sort of worked our way out of the lake, fished our way back, caught some perch for a bit of fun out the front of the launch, and then sort of pulled off the water at about midday and went up the pub for a feed.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Did you pair up with Tyler?
Yeah, so he sort of was doing his own thing, and then he worked his way up to the lake, and he was catching fish, and I was catching fish, and we were both sort of like, well, we know we can get good fish here. He was sort of catching them in different spots to me, but we're both doing very similar stuff. We're doing kind of what we did in the grand final last year at Gibb Lakes, but just obviously in a different venue, working it slightly differently. So we both sort of had a bit of confidence that we could catch fish in there.
Yeah, yeah, fair enough. All right, well, let's roll around to comp day for the Saturday morning. Tell us how that was for you. How'd you go about putting a couple of fish in the well?
Yeah, so first up, got off the line pretty quick, pulled up to the first rock wall just past the slips entrance upstream. Got a couple of casts in there with no luck, and then sort of got swarmed by a few people. So moved off that over to the flat, just adjacent to it, and ended up getting about a 900 grammer off the end of that flat, just on a lightly weighted plastic, just flicking up into the edge and just sort of working it back. There was a bit of bait and stuff flicking around, so there had to be a few fish there. And yeah, power pole down and sort of watched the fish swim past, sort of out on the edge. So started casting a few sprats out there again. Probably another 10 minutes went by and plucked another fish. He was illegal, but he wasn't anything big. So threw him in the well. It's probably 7:30, quarter to 8 by this point, and there was plenty of people around that was sort of getting a bit closer. So I made a move to go, well, I'll just work my way up to the lake waiting for this tide change now. So
Why'd you put your power pole down? Like, why'd you stop rather than just work along a bank?
because it was sort of starting to get deeper if I went further, and I wasn't seeing as much action on the edge up further. It was sort of in a bit of an eddy where that action sort of was. So I sort of power poled down, watching the fish sort of come past on the side imaging, similar to what we did the year before in the Vic Brim, and then just sort of cast out adjacent with the flow and just let it waft back in the flow and just sort of hopping it along the bottom, lightly weighted sprats and just let them sink slowly and just felt that tick on that smaller fish and set into it and got that one in.
Nice. With your sprats, are you like a traditional jig head or a hidden weight or?
Just a hidden weight, like a 120th, 128th, 140th sometimes.
Sure.
Yep.
Okay. Very, very good. All right. So I think you said you got two in the well and just started.
Yep, two in the well. Started pedaling up, fished a couple of spots on the way up over the next probably hour, got nothing, and sort of thought, well, now's a good time. I need to move into the lake. The tide had started to turn, or well, it had slackened anyway. Got into the lake, and instead of going up the main channel, turned left right where the reeds are. There's a bit of a cut through there. You can sort of plane in on the boat. So that was where our spot sort of was in from there. And there was a couple other people that obviously found that spot, but sort of worked my way around them, what I thought was politely, sort of over on the edge of the flat. Went past about 100 metres and started casting, and it wasn't long till I had a bite from the hybrid shrimp. Yeah, pro hybrid shrimp. And it probably was another 2 or 3 bites before I actually hooked the fish. Got that one in. It was around a kilo. Power pole down, sorted that out, and then sort of turned and faced back into the wind again. Another 2 or 3 casts, clunked another kilo fish, which was very handy. And then same sort of thing. Turned around, probably another 5, 6, 7 casts, clunked another fish, and he was around a kilo as well. And yeah, so that those 2 second fish, they threw out the other 2 fish that were already in there that I came into the lake with. This was at about probably 9:15 by this point.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. So with the hybrid shrimp,
Yeah.
you're in assumingly certainly less than a meter, I'd imagine. Is it just
Yeah, about 400 mil, 500 mil of water.
so slow wind or how are you fishing it?
Just 3 pound straight through, just piffing it out as far as possible. I was just casting straight into the wind. It was in that period where we had that sort of cloud cover come over. It was a lot lower light. I think probably helped a bit. But yeah, just casting it out, letting it sit for about 10, 15 seconds, winding up the slack if there is any, and then just sort of slowly hopping it off the bottom, letting it sit, pause it, work it like really slowly, just leave it sort of sitting there, let them find it or whatever they do. And one of those fish actually ate it on the drop, and I sort of went to wind up the slack and it was already on. The other 2 had actually clunked it like sort of after the hop. Yeah, it sort of varied over the day. I didn't get another touch after that for a while. I pedalled out into the lake a little bit more away from that spot. I think it was about an hour. I had a bite on a sprat, but missed it. Turned around, worked my way back to that spot over the next couple of hours. And then the tide had really turned, started to flow in. It was churning up a lot of the mud there. And on that sort of dirty water edge, I started casting again. I was power pop down, casting up into the current because it was sort of downwind, if that makes sense. Give me an extra cast. Just, yeah, hopping it very, very slowly, sinking it down, hopping it along that sort of edge. And yeah, every 3 or 4 or 5 casts, I was getting a fish, but unfortunately, they weren't big enough to upgrade any of the fish I had. They were all sort of that 950. After about 5 or 6 of those, I decided I'd leave there and start heading back toward the start.
Yeah, right, right. I mean, from what I gather, I take it you're probably at your limit already.
Yeah, I did catch one fish in amongst those that I did weigh against my smallest one, but he was just slightly smaller. So I put him back, and that was when I sort of went, well, I'm stinging fish now. Probably should go and sort of leave this alone just in case tomorrow's a lot tougher, which ultimately it was.
Yeah, fair enough. And on your way back down, did you find anything else?
Yeah, so that was at like probably 12:30, and it was a 2:30 check-in. I think it was 2:30. Yeah, the late one.
Yep.
And I fished a couple of other spots. I got one bite deep off the front of a flat in the flow. I reckon I dropped it halfway through the fight. I reckon it was just a perch. And I got another small perch a bit further down, and then just fished a few other spots and just couldn't really get any bites closer to the launch. So I ended up going in at about 2 o'clock instead of 2:30 and just waded away in.
And called it, mate. And you cracked the 3 kilos, which I think probably had you in maybe fourth or fifth,
Yeah, 6 or 7, something like that.
sixth or seventh. Okay, that's right. Yeah, there is a few 3 kilo plus bags. All right. So, given all that, what was your plan for Sunday?
Plan for Sunday was, given the earlier finish, 1 o'clock, I didn't want to stuff around getting up to the lake. I thought I'll just go straight up there. So I'd sort of got them on that slack the day before. I thought I'll just head straight in there and try and target them while that water might be a bit higher,
Sure.
which worked. It took us about 40 minutes to get up there, 35 minutes. And then I think it was by 8 o'clock I had 3 fish.
Nice.
What was it? One of them was my first fish for the day was a small one. And then I had 2 around 900 grams that went into the bag after that. And that was at 8. The same thing, just throwing the hybrid shrimp. It was a lot glassier. So I was sort of rotating around the kayak, sort of moving around, not so much casting into the wind.
Yeah.
And then it probably was another 2 hours after that before I got another bite. And it wasn't actually on the hybrid shrimp. It was on the Hurricane Skimp on about a 1/60th hidden weight. I just was a little bit further out into the lake, just cast it out, and wasn't really dead sticking it, but I was sort of leaving it for 15, 20 seconds and then just a little hop,
Mm-hmm.
and it just got clunked. And that was another 900, a little bit over 900. So he threw out the small one.
That's your 3 fish. So,
That was my 3 fish. I did catch another fish after that on a Munro's flick bait, similar thing, very lightly weighted. He was a small fish similar to the first one. I did rotate the lures a little bit because the bite was definitely a lot slower on that second day for me.
yeah, wow.
I got a couple other bites on the hybrid shrimp, but yeah, never got hooks into them, unfortunately.
Yeah. And how long you been fishing the hybrid skimp shrimp?
Sort of had fiddled around with it a little bit last year, and then we sort of used it leading up to that grand final, and then I had a lot of confidence to have it tied on and throw it. And then once we got that result last year, I think sort of has given us a lot of confidence to keep it tied on and to know that it works, sort of thing.
Yeah.
I mean, we're not doing it like a lot of other people do on the live stream or anything like that with a live scope. We're just sort of recasting it and just working it back naturally.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a great bait. It works really well. I've got a lot of confidence in that lure.
Okay. And do you have a favorite color or favorite colors?
Just all those green natural ones, whether it's the olive or I think one of them's like an olive, is it olive tiger?
Yeah, with stripes.
Green tiger or something. There's just the green with the stripes or the plain green. I like all them.
Yeah.
I like all them.
Yeah, very good.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I reckon that probably sums it up pretty well. So you had 3 pounds straight through on the hybrid shrimp. What sort of rod were you throwing it on?
It was one of Milrod's Crank Freaks. Yeah, we'd thrown it on the Twitch Freak last year as well, but sort of pulled a few hooks on it. Didn't really pull too many hooks. Sort of got busted off a couple of times on the Saturday, but I think fish really pulled hooks on the Sunday, but I just don't think he really ate it properly either. So I know it seems to cast them out pretty nicely, and that rod's always got the straight through on the reel, so just use that rod.
Yeah, fair enough. All right. I think that covers the fishing. Mate, tell us for third place, what'd you get to take home in this one?
There was the trophy, which is pretty awesome. Nice to add that one to the collection. And the $900, I think it was, for the third place. There was a tackle bag full of heaps of stuff, heaps of gear, another anaconda battery there as well. And yeah, that's about it. And bragging rights over all the guys we stayed with.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. And you let them know?
Yeah, for sure. No, they know.
Yeah, fair enough.
We got a bit of a thing going. It's supposed to be the worst like placed angler from the day before. The day before is supposed to take out the big Barbie doll on the back. A few people know about this sort of side gig or side joke, but I sort of didn't want to say too much after pre-fish, and I didn't present a photo of my biggest bream from pre-fish, so I nominated to take Barbie out myself, and I thought it was good luck, so I kept her after day one and took her out day two as well.
Right. Okay. I did not know that. I must have a look for that in the future.
Yeah. She'll be hanging off the back of the power pole on someone's kayak. There's 5 of us now that may have her, so
Okay. All right. Well, we'll keep an eye on that.
yeah.
Oh, there
Pretty
you
big.
go.
She's hard to miss.
Yeah, mate, that's a great plan. All right, mate. Last thing before we shoot off, is there anyone you want to give a shout out to?
Just thank you for this platform. It's really good. All the stories and the knowledge that you put forward, and all the other anglers that come on and share all their information. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Chris and the team at Hobie, because they run a very awesome comp. We had an awesome week down there. The guys that I stayed with, it was good fun, lots of beer strength, good banner, and then just well done to all the other anglers that done well. And yeah, that's about it.
That's about it. Awesome, mate. Well, look, congratulations on that, mate. Great start to the season. Top podium in your first couple of comps is pretty good.
Yep, we're going to take it, that's for sure.
And, mate, hopefully we get to talk to you again soon.
Yeah, fingers crossed. Thank you.
Thank you, mate. Okay, so coming in second place, we have an angler dropping 3 fish on the Saturday for 2.37, backing it up on the Sunday with 3 fish for 3.56, giving him a total of just under 6 kilos at 5.93. It gives me great pleasure to bring to the Bream Fishing Project, Brendan Pieschel. I just realised I wasn't sure exactly what your name was. Did I get it right?
Close enough, mate. Pieschel, anything. If you say a P and hesitate, I know it's me.
Fair enough. Usually I ask before I record. But anyway, mate, I was super proud. I was super happy to see you get a good result there, mate. And it was a cracking result too.
Yeah, thanks, mate. Look, firstly, thanks for having me on your show. It's I'm a long time listener, and I get to talk to you this time rather than argue with you. So it's good to be here.
Fair enough. No, mate, it was good, and you're just behind Joseph. He's only a couple 100 grams in front, which is an achievement in itself, I think.
Yeah, Joe's fishing good, very consistent, and I didn't expect to be in that place after day one. So yeah, I was surprised more than anyone when we hit the ramp for weigh-in.
Yeah, we got a cracking bag. All right, let's go around to pre-fish. Tell us what you got up to sort of get ready for this comp and work it out a bit.
Well, obviously with Marlo on the numbers there, we knew that was going to be a lot of pressure on the system with that many anglers over 3 days. So I'm well known for being a bit of a pre-fish princess and catching my best on pre-fish. I like to try now and cover as much as the area as I can and focus on a few points that I think are going to pay off for the comp. We all know that the lakes generally fish as well, so I didn't really want to concentrate on there. And I was staying with Dave Hedge, and I knew he would fish up there and knew what he was doing. So I kind of went down to the mouth of the Snowy and had a look around down there, and there was plenty of fish on the sounder. I threw a few bents, which obviously Joe will talk about, and all I could catch on them was salmon.
Okay.
And that was fun, but it was time consuming for each fish. So I think I got about 4 and called it then. And once again, I noticed there was a lot of people on the water, and I was really just trying to balance out where I was going to be for those 2 days of comp. So after being up there, I think I got 2 on pre-fish in the mouth back to the starting point, and I could see fish on the sound. I was like, okay, it's like feasible. Then I travelled back up into the slips, never been in there before, and I'd listened to some ABT boys talking about the slips. So I went and had a look around in there. I saw a few fish, but once again, in the back of my mind was always the amount of kayakers that could potentially be in there, especially when it's close to the start.
Yeah.
Yeah, so then I just decided to travel up past the first and second islands up there, and I turned right up the Snowy River. And I was a bit successful up there, and I got a few fish biting on plastics, and I think I travelled then up to the Broadrib River. I wanted to go to the Marlo Road Bridge there, but I never got that far. And I think I bumped into you halfway along my trip.
Yeah, that's right. That would have been there with Brett.
Yep. And Rick King, I think, came past. We had a bit of a chat as well. And we'd seen a few schools of fish along there. So I was kind of more confident they were there. And just before I saw you, I actually got a decent bite and I lost him at the kayak, but I saw it was a decent fish. So I was like, okay, I'm more confident here than anywhere.
I don't think you told me about that.
Maybe I forgot in passing.
Probably did.
Yeah,
Fair
I'll
enough.
always tell you the day after, mate.
Yeah, okay, well, that's good enough. All right, so you continued up a bit further?
Yeah, that was a bit after I saw you. I'd kind of made the plan to stick to the river, and unless David come back with information on the lake, so then I just called it quits. Did a bit of paddling and returned home pretty quietly.
Yeah, very, very good. All right, well, let's get round to comp day. So you brought in what would have been, I would say a competitive bag, given the weights were up there. But yeah, tell us how you went about catching some fish.
Yeah, so on day one, I thought I'll work my way back down to the banks that I saw the fish on the previous day, and I'd spoken to Dave and knew that they'd fished well and see out in the lake. But once again, with the water being so low and the amount of kayakers, I just thought to avoid it. So I started fishing the bank using pretty much, I think I took 7 rods on day one. I was so confident.
Okay.
Just start throwing everything everywhere. So I tried hard bodies, jerk baits, and the only thing I could confidently get a bite of was plastics.
Okay. And tell us what were you throwing? What was the gun?
Well, I think for me, the whole comp comes down to sponsor karma, and I threw Naughty's skimp shrimp in the cleaver colour on a hurricane jig head 128th hidden.
Oh my goodness, it's the sponsor's dream.
Sponsor's dream, and yeah, look, I've always been. I'm not superstitious, but there is such thing as karma when it comes to your sponsors. And I still have the lure. It's the exact same lure I threw those whole 2 days.
You use the same lure, same jig head all 2 days.
All 2 days.
And you still got it. And
still got it in my hand here.
You're holding it up to me.
I know. What should I do with it?
Oh, mate, you frame it. When you get those, do you break the little hair between the 2 tails?
It's a good question, Andrew. Yes, I do. Yeah, I looked at that straight away, and I can't remember. Maybe I was talking to John about it or someone, and they said split the tail gives a bit more action. I thought that makes sense. Obviously worked.
Yeah,
so
okay.
Can't complain. I might keep it for next time.
Yeah, right. Okay, well, let's talk about some of the fish.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us about how your day started. Where'd you get your first fishing comp day? Or, how'd you get it?
Yeah. Once again, even though I caught them all on the one fish, I still got bites, and I caught smaller fish on also the Pro Lure clone prawn.
Okay.
I was throwing that on 1/30th on a bait junkie jig head.
Yeah.
And while I still knew that they were taking jerk baits, I just could not get a bite. So I'd lost a lot of confidence in that. So I paddled to a spot there I'd seen the fish, started working a probably 50-metre section of bank that looked fairly active. And very quickly, I think I got there, I probably took my time getting there a bit, but once I got there and got fishing, it probably took me about 30 minutes to get 3 fish.
Really? Right.
And so, yeah, and that was my bag pretty much. Once I had, and that was 2.37. I didn't have scales with me at the time, so I couldn't weigh them.
Yeah. Okay. So how are you fishing it? Were you fishing rock walls or?
Mainly on the reeds. I found that because when they were eating prawns, I was just flicking really light and deep into the weed beds, letting it sit down, giving it a pause for a bit and just a quick double hop out of the reeds.
Wow.
And then they seem to just come along and smack it in the shallow water, between about 0.5 and probably a metre depth, I think.
Yeah, okay. So, I'm trying to picture it in my head. Were you sitting parallel and casting parallel, or were you sitting out off the bank?
No, out off the bank, straight at it, just because the wind had letting the prawn get a bit more action to it. It was working for me.
Okay. And did you find you had to cast really tight, or was it?
Yes, yeah, super tight, right in there every time.
Okay, interesting. Okay.
Isn't it? Yeah.
I still can't get over you've done 2 days fishing on one lure, casted tight, like you didn't hang up enough to break it off.
No, I was really lucky. One of the fish that we'll talk about day 2 nearly did, but yeah, it's I was more surprised my FG held for so long.
So good. All right. You came back on the Saturday and you had, what'd you have? 2.37. But now, where did that have you overnight? Because that's a pretty good bag.
I think that was 17th.
Yep. Okay. Yeah. You got over 2 kilos. You can't even crack the top 10. That's harsh.
Yeah, I'm sitting in 17th place knowing that there was some big fish caught. There was some big bags too. Who had the big bag? It was that Pat's big bag.
That's right. Pat Byrne. He had like 3.44, I think.
Yeah, 3.44. So I'm thinking that day two, these people are going to come in with 3.2 plus, maybe even bigger on day two.
That's right. That's right. But you never know. This is the thing.
That's what you got to keep. You got to keep casting.
That's it. You never know. I often think about it like this. Your days can reverse. You can have an average day on day one, and they can have a massive day, and then day two they can have an average day, and you can have a massive day.
Yeah, yeah. It's pretty much like managing your fishing spots as well. That was a big one for me on this.
Hmm.
Looking at how Lake Coringal was going, and day one it produced, I'm thinking, okay, I'm sitting 17th now. What do I do? Day two, do I go there? Do I change what I'm doing, or what?
No, you fish harder apparently.
Yeah,
So all
change
right,
it up.
let's go into the Sunday. So it was a bit of a different day. Tell us about how your day went. Like, did you go straight back up to the golden spot?
Yeah, I did. I don't usually do that because I always say I'm not there for the exercise.
Yeah.
But I was pretty much constantly paddling for 45 minutes, and I could see Luke Rogan in front of me, and he was powering away.
Yeah,
And I'm just in my head just thinking he's going the whole river, he'll go to my spot for sure.
probably.
Yeah, so I'm paddling along, and then that sea fog came in, and he disappeared in the fog.
Yeah, right. Okay.
So now I'm thinking, and I think it was 3 or 4 people down. I think Ben Harrison, I think was there. Oh, I can't remember who it was actually. Someone was near me, and I got past them, and I realised it was pretty much clear water in front of me.
Okay.
And then I got to my spot, and I didn't see a person for a while, so it was really good to get there and just have a break for a minute because I was a bit buggered.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. And how'd the fish come? Did you start straight away and get into them?
I went to a spot, I sounded along, and I mentioned day one, actually, I had to get through quite a few EPs as well. And I'd seen a few schools moving, and I thought possibly they were EP again. But it would seem to be you'd pick up a bream or two within the EPs every so often. So you just rotate through them.
Yeah.
So I went back to where I'd caught a few and worked that same bank. And I think it was about 5 minutes in, I got the first bite and I missed the fish. That was the first one I'd missed so far, and I was a bit disappointed. And a few minutes later, I landed my first one. It was probably a 31 tipper.
Okay. So just legal. It's good.
Just legal and good enough because you've broken the donut curse.
Yep.
I know the donut's not coming. Also, I'm sitting 17th, so I'm thinking I just want a bag to kind of hold top 20 for ARY points more than anything. I just kept working the bank, and I thought I'll be here for an hour, and if I can get 2 or 3 fish in the hour, we'll see what happens then before I change my plan. And then worked that same bank. Probably I got within another 200 meters up the bank, I got another fish that was probably 600 grams or something like that.
Yeah. Okay.
So I had that 600, which is an okay fish. But looking at the averages from the night before, I think they were like 800 was the average.
Yeah.
So it was all numbers in my head pretty much. And I'm just thinking of everybody pulling in keggers in the lake while I'm doing this. I was happy to get a bag. So I'm kind of saying, get 3, be happy and make it back that way. And then probably another 20 minutes later of casting, the third fish came along. So I had my bag probably within the first 45 minutes.
Wow. That's exciting. That's so cool.
Yeah, small bag, and you're happy. You're just kind of set for the day. I go, okay, I'll give this whole bank area another hour, and we'll see how we go from there. And I just kept working the bank, changed it up once again, couldn't get a bite on anything else. And I just kept saying to myself, if it's working and there's fish here, don't leave the fish, don't change what you're doing.
Okay.
And really just committed to it, the plastic bite.
Yeah, right. In terms from day one to day two, was the bite similar? Was there anything different?
No, it was pretty much exactly the same and within the same kind of bite window. I don't remember the full times, but by about 10:30, they'd shut down.
Okay.
But I was watching the bait fish getting hit and getting chased by stuff. And once I threw a prawn into a fleeing school, and I actually got a bream out of it.
Okay.
So, it was just kind of watching what was going on and just keeping an eye on my side scan, just watching the schools come through.
Sure.
And I didn't get any bycatch on day two, actually.
Okay.
I was a bit surprised, except for the little mullet that kept tapping at the back of the lure.
Yeah. All right. So you've got a small bag, but you ended up with a really big bag. So something must have changed.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe my luck. I think it was my luck that changed first. But I kept working the bank. I come along to a tree, which then tide was also rising now. So I thought it's a bit more fishable in some of the spots I was too shallow. And suddenly, out of nowhere, another fish came. And what I was doing, I kept thinking they were EP. So I'd stand up and put a bit of weight onto the fish first until I could see it. And then once I saw it was a bream, I'd sit down, take my time and try and land it. And that was when the first good one came in. I think it was probably the one. I think one was about 1.2 something, and the other one was probably 1.3. The 1.2 came in, so I got to chuck out a 500 for a 1.2.
That's so good.
So that was a great. So I was pretty excited by then. I was thinking, okay, I'm sitting in a decent spot now. Still not thinking top 10. Still thinking just get a good bag and
Yeah,
hold
yeah.
top 20. I think the next fish came fairly quickly, and that was an 800 grammer.
Okay,
So
so
that
solid.
upgraded. Yes, that was a good, what I was calling the average size fish, and I was happy with that. And then it slowed down a bit, so I'm working along. I could see schools coming and going, and I was starting to think maybe they've stopped. So I stood up in the kayak just to have a look around, and there was two brim on a flat just sitting there staring at me,
Right. Okay.
and they just swam off very slowly.
Yeah.
And then I cast my plastic in front of where I thought they were, and I don't know if it was the same fish or another one. But then the the lure took off, and it was a big, really big clunk on the lure. I thought, okay, it's a really good fish or an EP again. Went through the process, stood up, and then the big fish came up, and that's when everything got serious. I started looking at my line, doubting my knots,
Yeah, right.
and threw the 360 into reverse and tried to pull it away. And it was running parallel to the bank, and I was probably putting as much force as I could on my line while paddling backwards. And he was like banging against the reeds and the tree.
Oh,
And my heart was in my mouth for a while, and then he came out. I got him out into deeper water. Then I was more concerned about, you've got to worry about getting your net underneath him. I could see my FG, and I'm just thinking, please don't let go. And but probably took me about 3 or 4 minutes to get him in. Actually, I just took my time once I knew he was clear and safe. And then as it came up to the top, I could see the lure was quite deep in his throat, so I'm worried about his teeth cutting through the leader.
yeah.
Yeah, that was the least of my problems. But anyway, I got it in the net, and I was like, I was pretty chuffed after that.
And we didn't talk about what leader were you running?
5 pound. Yeah, I think was it 5 pound X-Link all
Okay.
weekend. Yeah, I was going to run 4 pound, and I decided to up it a little
Up
bit.
a little bit. So okay, so that's very cool. 'Cause, I mean, to not lose a lure all weekend, that's mental.
Yeah, I think I will say Dave Hedge gave me a bit of a hint on my FGs because they've been failing a bit, and maybe that's what fixed it. But the knots held for the whole weekend. I literally could have taken one rod.
Okay, what was the hint? What'd you fix?
Oh, just tying enough closing loops on it, and I probably wasn't tensioning it the right way. The angle of the knot on the line,
Sure.
and the tension. So I just concentrated more on that and talked about it, and
Okay, it seemed to work.
it seems to work so far.
All right. So I don't think you must have one more fish to come, or is that it?
The big one was the 1.3. That was the big fish, and I kind of knew then that was the day done. I don't think I could have upgraded if I tried, but I still worked the bank. I committed to staying there till about 11:30,
Sure.
and just doing that, and then going back to sit out the front blade like most people did before weigh-in.
Yeah. Yeah, and some people caught some fish. But you ended up with 3.56, which was, I think, best I can tell, biggest bag of the comp.
I don't know.
Yeah, I think it was because Pat was winning with 3.44, so that was day one.
Yeah, that's what it probably was. Yeah, it does. It looks like it was.
Yeah, so biggest bag for the day, biggest bag for the comp, which is a pretty good little title.
Not bad. Not the biggest fish. Just unfortunately, I would have liked to get big brim, but
Yeah,
one day.
exactly.
That's the next challenge.
Exactly. All right, and just before we move off the fishing, what rod and reel were you running for the week with the skimp?
Well, I've got a multitude of rods, but the one that caught everything this weekend was the Samurai Infinite.
Really? Okay.
Yeah,
Very cool.
very nice rod with a Luvius 2004 on it.
2004 Hurricane Skimp, Hurricane Jighead, was it? I can't remember.
The Hurricane Hidden, what do they call them? I've got it here. Yeah, the Hidden Weight 124th one, number one.
Okay, very cool.
So, I said I really did stick to that. That plan was sponsored Calm was going to get me through everything, and it obviously paid off.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people caught fish on Hurricane products while we were down there. So
Yeah, they are a good lure. I like my prawn lures, but that one for me, I went through a few different brands, as I said, and I just got the bites on that. So don't change if it works. Ain't broke, don't fix it.
exactly. All right, so mate, you ended up with a great result in second place. Mate, what did you get to take home for second?
Second was a lovely check for $1,425. The lovely trophy, of course, which is my first trophy. But I do like my novelty checks. A great gift bag, a sponsor bag with a lot of hurricane stuff and other lures in there as well, with a $50 Anaconda voucher.
Mate, Absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, can't complain.
Very, very good. Now, I don't know the answer to this. Did that give you an entry into the AC?
Yes, it does. I didn't even realise that till tonight when I looked at the AOY.
Yeah, right.
So how's that for pressure off for the rest of the year?
That's right, mate. You can fish easy.
Yeah, no, or you can fish harder.
Well, this is true too.
I'm on a bit of a roll at the moment, so we'll see if I can hold that together or not choke.
Fair enough. And what's the next one for you, mate?
Wallaga.
Wallaga. Very, very
Yeah,
good.
looking
Very
forward to
good.
that.
All right, mate. Well, look, last thing before we shoot off, is there anyone you want to give a shout out to or say thank you to?
Yeah, probably a few because it's my first time up here as well. Firstly, to yourself, what you've been doing, this podcast has been great, especially for new and up and comers.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's good. And I listen to most of them as well, especially when I'm travelling. To Chris Purnell and the team at Hobie Australasia, just for the whole tournament scene just is excellent. You know, you can't afford it. It's run professionally. Great bunch of blokes. They're always encouraging, great sense of humour, and it's just a real good vibe, isn't it?
It is. It's great.
James, I know it's cliche, but James at Hunter Watersports, James has been a mate for years, and yeah, he's just a top bloke. He's always helping out with my kayaks, and he's just a good all-rounder. It's a shame he wasn't there. I hope he is at more comps this year.
Yep.
Chris and Jim Hickson at Manning River and Marine, they've looked after me since I started fishing for tackle, as well as my local tackle shop, Mr. Craig out at Harrington Bait and Tackle. And probably a special mention would be to Cedric Lopez from Hangry Wolf
I
Barbecue.
love Cedric.
Yeah, he could cook like hell, and he also gave me the shirt to use. So now that's going to be my lucky fishing shirt. So you'll be seeing the Hangry Wolf shirt everywhere.
I did see the shirt. Now I know Cedric will listen to this one for sure, mate. I need you to make me a sandwich, mate.
That's it. I'm pretty sure he said it'd be free brisket for life.
So good.
So yeah, that's it. And to all the competitors, as well, if we didn't have all the guys turning up and girls, it's good to see a lot of women now.
Yep.
Except when they beat me, I don't really love anyone beating me. But
Fair enough.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah.
Absolutely. All right, mate. Well, that's a cracking interview, and mate, I'm really pleased for you. Thanks for coming on, and I'll see you at Wallaga.
Well, hopefully you'll see me after Wallaga on this, but I won't talk myself up. I'll just try.
Even better, mate. Even better. All right, mate. Have a good night.
Thank you, mate. See ya.
See ya. Okay, so coming in first place, we have an angler who's a regular on the show. He dropped his 3 fish on the Saturday for 3.13 kilos, backed it up on the Sunday with 3.02, giving him a total of 6.15. And first place with an average of over a kilo per brim, we have Joseph Gardner. Welcome back to the show, mate.
Hey, Andrew. Thanks for having me again.
Mate, it's another great win. I think probably a really interesting story.
Yeah, I think so as well. Awesome place to fish. Marlo that is a stunning arena.
And first time there or?
Yeah, first time there. So
Stop it.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Mate, I reckon you must be able to smell them.
Maybe. I think bit of luck though.
Okay. I was going to say, you did say that when I walked past you at the end of the way and you said a bit luck. I was like, yeah, it's lucky if you do it once, but if you keep doing it, something more to it. Anyway, let's move on. Let's talk about pre-fishing and preparation, mate. What did you get up to?
Yeah, so before the comp, I did a fair bit of research, what I could. So there isn't a lot online, but you could sort of make out a few key spots. Obviously, I knew the lake would probably be quite busy. Almost 100 kayaks was going to be a lot of kayaks pre-fishing the lake, I would think, and a lot of kayaks pre-fishing around the islands. Wanted to try and find a spot that was probably a little bit away from them, which was either going to be up either the Broderick River or potentially way up the Snowy. It wasn't until the layover day between the Bream River Comp and Marlo that Greg and I got together and we sort of decided to go for a bit of a walk. Went down to the French Narrows. There's a car park up there. You can sort of walk down and walked all along the bank around the whole French Narrows area and down the front and just managed to see a lot of fish. So I thought pre-fish, we'll go and check that out first. And then failing that, I can have a bit of a look up one of the rivers, which that's what pre-fish ended up being. So,
okay. And in terms of pre-fish, did you get many fish?
I landed 2. One on a slim swim, which wasn't actually where I ended up catching them. There's a little rock pile just downriver from the yellow markers. Well, I got one good one there. It was probably like a 35 fork or something like that on a slim swim. Yeah. And then up in the French Narrows, I lost a few fish on a pygmy mussel and a Z-Man grub.
Okay.
They just wouldn't bite it. And there were thousands and thousands of fish in there. Noticeably less fish each day of the comp, but on that pre-fish day, they were just everywhere, staging up shallow, but they just wouldn't bite. no matter what I threw at them. So on the way back out, I did manage to get one yellow to eat a mussel, which was just out on the front flats, so where the actual river mouth is.
Sure.
And then from there, went all the way upriver, went all the way up the Brodrig, right up to the boat ramp. And
Okay.
I got one bite the whole way up, which I
Okay.
think was a big brim, but I wasn't on for long enough to really know for sure. So, which was just along a rock wall. So that pretty much set in stone that I was going to go down where I saw all the fish. So, yeah.
Okay. So, but you went down there, you saw a lot of fish, but couldn't really get them to eat. But why'd you go back there?
Well, I didn't see fish anywhere else, so I thought I'd stick to where the numbers are and maybe change up a little bit what I was actually throwing. So I could see the fish were real flighty. They would spook easily. Every time the Z-Man grub or the mussel would land on the water, if it was close than 10 meters to the fish, they'd just be out of there. Real flighty, real spooky. So there's been a few comps, I think, where fish have been like that. I think Jason Marshall at Wallaga Lake, when he was throwing a bent minnow there, that's probably helped me to decide to throw a bent minnow in the actual comp. I thought maybe they're a bit flightier. We could probably throw a bent a bit further and get them excited on a quick retrieve on the surface, and then I could just let it sit there for 30 seconds and
Sure.
wait for a fish to come up. And that's what I ended up doing.
Okay. All right. All right. Well, let's roll into comp day. So I think the Saturday, we start off with really clear skies, I think, at the launch,
Yeah.
and then it clouded over.
Yeah, that fog sort of came through. So I think before the comp start, though, I needed to actually find some lures because I didn't actually pack any bent minnows at all.
Right.
So Paul Hardiman, there was Joel Crosby, and then the two guys I was staying with, Greg Cooper and Phil Cockshut, they all gave me a bent or two each. So
Nice.
without that, I probably wouldn't have been able to catch them because I didn't end up packing any hard body lures at all other than mussels. So very lucky and thankful to them. It ended up being the pink head P74 bent minnow that I threw pretty much the entire time.
Sure.
Yeah, so comp day rolled around, managed to get up into the rock pile just after the yellow markers. I started there. Didn't decide to go into French Narrows until after I fished that, just because I caught a fish there first up on pre-fish. I thought I'd give that a shot. Gave it about 20 minutes and then left there and ended up going into French Narrows. There's about 6 kayaks fishing all in that sort of area.
Sure.
And I just started throwing the bent and managed to pick up one small one right in front of Crozza, which was probably that was the smallest fish I'd caught the whole week. That was only a 34-er. And then it wasn't until I got right up into the back of French Narrows, so dragged my kayak over shallow water under the little footbridge into that back section that I started catching them much better fish. So, yeah.
Wow. Wow. And just to be clear, anyone that's not familiar with the rules on that, you can drag your kayak over any area that is covered at the high water mark. So even if it's low tide, you can drag it across and carry on.
There was a little bit of water, but you're talking 5 to 10 centimetres in some spots. So quickly jump out and drag it through. And then when I got under that footbridge and started fishing, that's when they just started hitting it. And it was an interesting retrieve on day one compared to day two. It sort of changed up a bit.
Sure.
Which is probably due to the weather. Day two obviously was a much tougher day without that cloud cover for, I think, a lot of people.
Yeah.
But day one, it was a really long cast out parallel to the bank and churning it back about 15 metres and then just stopping and waiting.
A long burn.
Yeah, long burn, sort of get them excited, and then just a really long pause, and then very small twitches, like 1 or 2 twitches at a time, and then a long pause. So each cast was, maybe taking 3 to 5 minutes, which is a long time to sit and wait. But you can sort of, if you weren't waiting that long, they just weren't interested.
Yeah, okay. You've got the pink head bent minnow, a 76 or an 86?
I threw both. I only got fish on the 76. I did try the 86 a little bit on day two. And I also tried a weighted one a little bit on day two, just to try and keep it under a little bit longer. But in the end, every fish that I landed came on the 76 stock standard.
Yeah, right. Okay. And then in terms of fish coming throughout the day, did they come all day or did they?
They came all day. I mean, I only got 8 bites, and of those 8, I landed 6. So, but they were spread out. So mostly in the morning, I only got 4 or 5 bites in the morning. And then on the way back out in the Arvo, I got 3 bites, not in that little lagoon, but actually out on the flats in the French Narrows area.
Sure. Sure. And was there still a stack of fish in there? Were you still seeing
Not
them?
as much on day one. Like there was Dale Baxter was in there on pre-fish with me as well, and him and I both said like there were a lot of fish in there. He didn't end up coming into that little back section under the bridge, which might have made a difference if he did. But thanks for leaving that alone.
Yeah.
But no, there was definitely less fish.
Hmm.
It could have been a tide thing. We obviously had a 40-minute sort of different tide window each day. So, and then on day two, we obviously didn't have as long of a day out there either, which probably made a bit of a difference. So I don't think the fish had time to actually push up onto the shallows before there was already kayaks there spooking them. So I think that actually probably kept the fish off where they were on pre-fish, just due to there being more kayaks in there and more people fishing and probably spooking the fish before they actually get a chance to push up on.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. And with your setup, were you still using your same rod?
Yeah, same rod. So everything was on the old JML Perfection rod with a. I did have a bigger reel, so 3000 exists for the Bent Minnow, just a bit more casting distance and a bit quicker line retrieve on the return back. So every fish came on that same outfit.
Same outfit and leader. What were you running for the weekend?
I did toss up between 4 or 6, and I ended up going 6 for the whole time. And I think that probably helped out because I know Greg Cooper on day one, he lost a couple big ones just throwing 4 pound. And I think 6, even with a lighter drag, it just gives you a bit more confidence. I don't think it made too much of a difference with the bite.
Yeah. Right. On the Saturday, did you drop any?
I dropped 2, so right on the way out. So I landed everything I hooked at the start, and in that back lagoon landed everything. And then on the way out, I got 3 bites. The first one was maybe another 35 forker, very similar to the fish I had. Then the second one was a big one.
Yeah.
Got it all the way up right shallow in probably 15, 20 centimetres of water, real shallow. You could almost see it tailing.
Yeah.
And hit it, ran straight out into the deep water near some snags that are down there as well. So there's some sort of laydowns that have washed down with the floods that they would have had at some point. It was really close to him, so I sort of started panicking and probably pulled him in a little bit too quick. And he went to go under the kayak, so I put the net right under and scooped him up. And in doing so, actually managed to hook the net and pull the hooks out. So
Oh,
as I went to go scoop him up, the fish just swam up and over the net. So
ouch.
and that was a big one. That was bigger than the 38 fork I had in there. So probably early 40s fork. Really,
Right.
really would have been a good one.
Yeah, to throw out your smallest, put in a real big one.
Yeah, yeah. Which I mean, hindsight doesn't really matter, but at the time there was a few choice words banging at the kayak. So
Yeah, fair enough. The comp winning Australian grand final winning kayak.
yeah,
All right. Well, look, hey, you came back with 3.13, which actually I think it had you in.
fourth, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, sitting in fourth after day one. So, but I was pretty confident that those fish would still be there. So, and I knew with the weather forecast, it would probably be really tough for people in the lake, especially
Mm.
after 2 full days of fishing there. A shorter day, an hour and 40 minute less of tide with the hour early finish and 40 minutes difference in the tide cycle. So,
Yeah.
I thought it might be a little bit tough for people going that way, and was actually really quite quietly confident.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's interesting because I thought it's definitely going to be tougher, especially in the lake, because it had been flogged for 2 days. So
Yeah. And I knew that where I was down the front, it just hadn't copped that amount of pressure. Like it did have a few kayaks on there, but I mean, there wasn't many people throwing surface or many people actually catching them in there, but I knew how many fish were in there. So
hmm,
yeah, just sort of went back hoping that I wouldn't have too much company. And most people held off. I don't think there was any extra people that were in there on day one that weren't in there on day one that came in there on day two. So which was really nice.
yeah, cool. All right. Well, tell us how your day went. How did you put together the day two bag?
It started off me falling in the water, trying to get over the first bit of a sandbar. So thankfully, the Hobie guys didn't get that on film, which was nice. So
Is that the first time you've fallen in?
it wasn't a full fall in, but yeah, it would be close to. The water was still pushing out from the French Narrows, so it sort of ran the tide the whole way down. And then in that section where you've got to jump out and pull your kayak over, it was ripping out. And
Mm.
I just lost my footing in the soft sand and
Ah,
went arse in. So that was all right. So nice cold start to the morning.
nice fresh start.
Yeah. So went in, there was a couple young guys, I think it's Archer and Lachlan, that were actually fishing that same lagoon with me on the day before.
Mhm.
They were sort of in behind me, coming in there as well, but they sort of left it alone for me. They fished sort of just behind me, which was really nice, and then left the lagoon alone and managed to sit in there for pretty much the entire day just doing circles, throwing bent minnows.
Right. And so if you did laps of the bay or the area, did it refresh?
Yeah, I did it real slow. So, and I like as slow as I possibly could. I think if those couple young guys came in and did the same, it probably would have shut it down.
Sure.
I was fortunate enough to get 3 early bites. Like I had a 34, a 35, and a 37 fork in there before they even came in. So that sort of eased the nerves a little bit. But I did miss a few fish after that as well, and landed one, which was an upgrade. So
Okay. And basically, so you said all your fish came on the bent. Was it the same retrieve on the Sunday?
no, it was very different. So I couldn't get them on that long burn. It was actually a cast out, and I'd probably sit it there for 30 seconds before even touching it. With that, I mean, there wasn't a breath of wind in there, and that sun was just beaming down. So it was a cast up, let it sit there for 30 seconds, and then similar retrieve to after I burnt it on day one. It's just a small 1 or 2 twitches to get it just to dip under the surface, and then
Yep.
that slow rise back up, and then again just sit it there for 20 seconds. I did play around with a fast retrieve and a slow retrieve, but all the fish really came on that real slow retrieve, except for one, which was an early fish, and that came when I was burning it, which was one of the bigger ones. That came when I was burning it, but that was before the sun was really up. So as soon as that sun was up, they wouldn't do it.
Okay. Okay. And when you said you were doing the short twitches, is that like a tap on the slack? Like you're trying to hit it hard but not move it?
Yes. Yeah, yeah. So you want to give it the slack, and then you hit the slack, which sort of just makes the lure dart down. It doesn't actually pull it. If you pull it, it sort of starts to spin, where I just want it just to duck under the water, not really any other action to it.
Yeah. Okay. And over the weekend too, so your bent minnows, they come with those little nickel plated hooks. Is that what you ran on them? Did
Yep.
you run? Yeah.
Stock standard hooks. I did replace the actual clip on the front with a Braden clip that Greg had. I'm not too much of a fan of those stock standard clips on the front, but the hooks, they held out. I used the same, so all fish came on the same bent minnow on day one, and then I replaced it for day two with one of the ones from Paul Hardyman, and all the fish came on that same bent minnow on day two. Even though I tried throwing an 86 and a weighted one, all the fish came on the same bent with the same hooks. Didn't have to change them. They didn't really bend out at all. It was just a really light drag, as light as you possibly can.
Mm.
In that back section where the lagoon is, there's not any snags in there. It's only in the sort of open area back out the front that there's some laydowns and stuff. So I could sort of let the fish do whatever they want and come around and finally get in the net. And yeah, didn't bend out any hooks at all.
Yeah. Get in the net, get in the live well.
Yeah, exactly right. So day two was, a little bit tougher. Like I got the 3 early, and then I only got one upgrade sort of mid to late morning. And then I lost 3 fish pretty much all in a row on one lap around, which was one of my last sort of laps around, where they just wouldn't commit properly. So I had hooked a couple and pulled hooks. And then there was one which came up and sucked at the bent and just didn't suck hard enough. And there's another big one. So, yeah.
Ouch.
So I think it was I got 8 bites and landed 6 on day one. Day two, I got 7 bites and landed 4.
Right. Right. And the last one was an upgrade.
Yeah. So with that, I think there is a bit of luck that comes into it. I think when you can, you've only got so many opportunities, and it only takes a couple going the wrong way for it to really change your day.
100%. 100%. It is something that gets said quite a bit is you have to have everything go right. You've been on the fortunate side of that thing where a couple of things have gone wrong and it's still come together.
Yeah, that's right.
And so I take it, I didn't hear you say you lost any. So I take it all the bent minnows got returned.
Yeah, they did. I gave Paul's back with teeth marks all over it, and Greg's one I've actually still got. I've got to give him that back as well.
He said you could have it. Mate,
Yeah. I'll have to put that with the trophy, I think.
Fair enough. Fair enough. All right, mate. I reckon that's a great story. And is there anything else with regards to the fishing we need to talk to?
I don't know. I think I might have to add a bent minnow to the repertoire for some other venues, I think.
Yeah,
So
we might have to.
not something that I really ever throw. So it really probably comes to a couple comps where I've seen other people do well on them in similar conditions
Mm.
and similar sort of fish. I guess the only other thing I'd add is so the Blackwood River has a very similar system to what Marlo has there with that sort of French Narrows area. We've got what's called like the Deadwater, and it's very similar where the mouth used to be in a different location, which has
Mm.
led to that deeper water being in there. And then the mouth has moved and it's actually changed that area completely. So it's still all deep water and there's still fish in there, but they don't have that easy access in and out. So I did actually do, in some of my research, was trying to work out where that mouth used to be and if that meant that there might be fish in there. Because if you go back sort of 70 odd years ago, that mouth used to be right over the other side, which is why all that deep water's there,
Okay.
which is very similar to what we've got. So the Blackwood River's got the exact same, just doesn't have that size fish in it.
Okay. Interesting. Interesting. Oh, well, maybe you got something to work on.
Yeah, so that was a little bit, I guess, a extra reason why we wanted to really have a look there is it was very similar to the Blackwood River and what we've got there down the very front. Just the class of fish is much better at Marlo. A lot of big ones there.
There is. And it's one of those, like we've said this many times, it's one of those fish, those systems that divides people. People either get them and get big ones or they get nothing and are unhappy about it.
Yeah, it's like you can go from hero to zero quickly there, I reckon. Doesn't take much just to lose one or two big ones.
Yeah. I mean, for me, that excites me to know that the next cast could be a 1.5 kilo fish.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. And I'm looking forward to getting back and doing some more exploring because there is a lot of water to fish. Like I only really touched the Broderick up to that boat ramp and then down the front. Didn't go into the lake, didn't really fish around the islands, didn't go up the Snowy at all. So there's a lot of water.
Mm.
You think 100 kayaks is a lot, but I think there's a lot of water there to fish, so it doesn't really matter too much.
No, well, there you go. All right, mate. I reckon that's a very cool story. Tell me, for first place in this one, what'd you get to take home?
Yeah, $27.40 in cash, I think it was. So paid for pretty much the whole trip. Paid for a couple of the bottles of red wine that we might have drank on the Sunday night. So
I heard it was a nice night.
yeah, lovely night. And then there was a big prize pack in there as well. So obviously the Hurricane lures pack was all in there, and got a $100 voucher for Anaconda as well.
Wow, very cool. And trophy, and you already had an AC spot, but you got another one.
Yeah, I don't know what they're doing with the AC, so it might mean it works. I don't know.
Well, either way, mate, you're in.
Yeah, so nice. Looking forward to then just being able to relax. I think we've got Tassie on next, and I'll be watching the weigh-in for the people fishing Wallaga as well.
Very, very good, mate. You should come to Wallaga.
No, that's to me is like what Marlo is to some people. I think that is a heartbreak place.
It broke you.
Yeah. I don't know if I'll come back there for a while. Need another year to recover, I think.
Fair enough. We'll see how we go this year, mate. Different time of year.
I think it'll fish better. We'll wait and
I
see.
think so.
I hope it fishes a lot better.
It did produce very big bag, though.
It did. It definitely did. So on Bent Minnows for day one as well. So
I know. Very good. All right, mate. Last thing before we shoot off, is there anyone you want to give a shout out to?
Yeah, I mean, other than those few people like Paul, Joel, Greg, and Phil for the Bent Minnows, Dale for not coming in there, knowing that I was in there, Hobie for sorting out the kayak again. Like that is a big one for me to be able to come over and fish the comps. And then Phil is actually taken that kayak down to Tassie for me, which is just awesome. So I wouldn't be able to do any of this without any of that help. So
sure.
We're really, really well supported by everyone involved, I think.
Absolutely. I was thinking, have you got like a tackle kit in that kayak now? Have you got like a...
No, I have got a life jacket in there.
What's wrong with mine?
Well, I think it is yours.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
It might be.
I had to dig through Hobie's pile of life jackets to work out which one it was, but I'm pretty sure I got the same one. So it's staying in the kayak now.
All right. Well, it's been donated to you. How good's that?
Awesome.
Very good. All right, mate. Thanks again for coming on. And, mate, I'm sure we'll talk to you again soon.
Awesome. Thanks, Deethy. Cheers.
Okay, so there we are for the angler interviews. I hope you found those ones interesting. I think they're all different, which is cool to see. Quite close in the end, like only 300 grams or 320 grams from first to third, which is pretty cool. And with definitely interesting stories. I like Brendan's story with just the one lure for the whole 2 days. That's absolutely crazy. Joseph obviously doing something a little bit special to take the win. And Ben Hanscomb working it out up the lake. How good's that? Another thing, over time, I've banged on about, get out and go for a walk. And obviously weight's been an issue for me. And it's it's only got worse. But I did have a moment today, which I thought I'd share. I took a stroll down into the national park at a Grays Point and down Honeymoon Steps or Bridal Steps or something like that. Anyway, an absolute mountain to walk down, and it was steamy. But I don't know why I'm sharing it. I just had a good moment. I walked up the top of the hill, and it's a steep hill, like it's quite a climb. Got up the top, my heart was pounding. I was sweating because it was muggy as, and I thought, I better sit down. Like I better just be real here. I sat down for a minute and kind of did some box breathing for those of you who know what that is, and just had this really nice little moment. And I don't know, I thought I'd share it. Anyway, look, I hope you enjoyed that. I really, like I've always said, I enjoyed Marlo. It still kicks a lot of people's butts, including mine this year. I did talk about my experience on the monthly report. So if you wanted to hear how I went and the fish I caught while I was down there, just tune back into the March monthly report and you'll be able to listen to that. No excuses, but definitely an explanation. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to roll the outros. Look, I'll talk to you next week on the Bream Fishing Project.
Thanks for listening. Hopefully you were informed, inspired and entertained. If you were able to learn something or just enjoyed listening, please consider subscribing and rate us on your favourite podcasting platform.